Hey, imagine we were good.
I can't remember the last time I did a Monday BA show when we won. Because I remember we were on that dream we're on, and I got the only loss as well. It feels like a lifetime ago. They used to be good, though. I remember. It used to be good.
To be fair, this wasn't like a Monday 11 a.m. Hey, bro, tough game. Hey, do you reckon you could come on tonight at 7? Just like, I need you. This was a week in the making.
We pre-planned it.
Yeah, it was.
I like to think that's what happened, that somehow there was a leak to the club that I'm here Monday and the players all just imploded.
And they gave every single fuck to give and left it in Melbourne.
And they were like, better not let Pom fucking have any moments of entertainment at all. Keep him miserable.
Ah, dear. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Blue Abroad show here on the Blue Abroad YouTube channel. It is Monday, the 5th of May, 2025. Pommy's here with me, and we are here after the round 8 loss to Adelaide. Why don't we just lock you in for next week? We'll win next week.
Look, okay, but we're never locking me in ever again if we lose, right? I'll be a last-minute replacement, but look, I'm happy to come on next week. And hopefully, I just want to do a win. Just want to be excited and find something to get you all up and about. That's all I want.
All right. You're locked in for next Monday after round 9. If we lose badly to St Kilda, I don't know, dude.
All my chat wanted me to make a bet because I made a retirement last year that when Jake beat me and I had stress was a saint, I'd retire from bets. And I've had some really good bets because I remember the chat begging me not to make the bet with Luke, which Luke backed out of, which was to get a tattoo of the logo when Carlton were losing and we won. But there we are. It's okay. It's okay. Look, we'll win next week. Vibes will be good. And look, it's a good time. Good time.
Yeah. So we're in for a nice evening tonight, guys. Pommy, you got your Yorkshire tea still?
Yeah, mate. I'm still chugging it down.
Cheers to that. Have a guess what that is. That's not mango and cucumber. Went for something different.
Manuka honey and what would you put with Manuka? Lemon.
This is just a nice spiced chai tea. No caffeine.
You've taken all the fun out of a tea. No caffeine, mate.
It's 7 p.m.
Mate, Jesus. All right, cool. But yeah. Hot dog.
That is good. Oh dear.
Hot dog water.
Hot dog water. Oh, thanks, Alice. All right, good to have you all here. Let's unpack round 8. We've just finished the rating, so we really have gone deep into round 8. Won't spend too much time. Pommy, chat. How do you go from being so interested as a football team, concentrated, focused, aligned, connected, intense, and how do you go from it being the antonyms of all of those words in 6 days? How does that happen?
I think that's the big thing that scares me about Carlton at times is they're real vibe FC, aren't they?
Yeah.
Vibe FC. As much as I love the boys, the biggest criticism I can give them is just there's no linear curve, is there? We're could be good, and it's when it works, it really works, and when it doesn't, it doesn't, and it's heartbreaking, isn't it? Really, because I think that's what separates us from the real good sides. You kind of know what you're getting with Brisbane every week. You kind of know what you're going to get with Collingwood every week. With us, we could come out and do what we do to Geelong, but then this game always feels around the corner. But by the same token, I would not be shocked for us to beat St Kilda by 80 points. But I would be the same amount of shocked of beating them by 80 points as losing by 40 points. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's the mindset I have with this team. You just don't know which it's going to be.
I mean, it doesn't. To be fair, it doesn't take much for them to get me on board and love them. And what I've started to notice creep into my fandom is that like they have this ability where I watch them and I'm like, I really don't like you guys. Like I really dislike you people. Like it's unprofessional at times. And it's like, oh, if it's not going our way, they're just an acceptance. And it's so disappointing because of course I love them all and I love the club and all of that. But it's like, are you all being serious right now? Like, all right, lose, fair. But just that grotty aura of acceptance that it's just not our day and when we're going to give up. That is just so beyond acceptable. And I think this was the worst performance of the season. And we've been madder earlier in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I think what always gets me is it's the style we lose as well. Like there's almost like it's almost like it's going to happen in the terms of like very early doors. And I think that's the issue that I have with the Blues. Feels like when the game's not on our terms, we're never going to bring it back on our terms. And I can't put my finger on why it is. Voss has been very open with how he wants to play. The manic forward half pressure. The big question I've always had, I've had it all year, is it sustainable? And this is where I have that sustainable thing. You've got to have a plan B. You've got to have an ability to wrestle it back. And it's really hard to watch. Like, it really is hard to watch because everything goes wrong. Like, all the things we criticised the boys for the first 4 weeks, you saw it this week. The laconic ball movement. The ball movement came back. Carlton had gone from a scoring shot every 2 touches to this week. It was nearly at 5 again. That real slow way of getting it there, where the last couple of weeks it's been bang, 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 bang. It's hard to understand how you can do that. And it'd be interesting to see what the club would answer that. Is it players? Is it coaching? Is it mindset? Because me, I don't buy into the whole situation thing. Do you know what I mean? We got spooked. They're not... Richmond could say to me, I got spooked this week. I'm like, they're kids. But these are full-grown men who are, in my opinion, we said it on the phone to each other, didn't we? That the flag window shuts a hell of a lot quicker than it opens.
Yeah, man.
And I would have thought by now these boys would be up for the task no matter what, anytime, anywhere. And at times it feels like it's got to be on our terms.
Well, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's like, I don't know what's a reasonable expectation, like bare minimum expectation anymore. It's really difficult to find that minimum expectation. And then it just gets to the point I'm like, if we win well, I'll enjoy it. When we enjoyed the Geelong win for 24 hours and then it was pretty quickly on to Adelaide. Yeah, it's just, maybe because of the way the season started, it's hard to put this loss in Adelaide away. Like the boys just weren't there on that day. But it's like, why? Why not? Why are they doing that?
You know what though? Like, you see all the excuses come out. Do you know what I mean? Like I've seen so many so far. JSOS, the Adelaide Oval. I've seen Cottrell. Like, people laugh when I said Cottrell was McCluggage, and now evidently he is McCluggage. But they're one of the oldest sides in the league. They're not children anymore. And this is where my expectation, I really want the fans to drive this a little bit, right? That you've got to have this expectation. We're not a top 8 side. The preseason mantra from Brian Cook himself was the top side. And I saw all them comparisons when I was on this show, and I was upset, and people started saying, "Oh, Brisbane did it, Pom 0-5. Sydney made a granny from 0-4." That's the expectation I genuinely have, even if we started 4-0. So you can't have these inconsistent performances. And the way we've started, we don't really have many of these in the locker room.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We can't afford 3 or 4 more.
No.
It's do or die now.
Yeah, but they don't play like it.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't give them any excuses. This is elite sport. That look, when you do what you did to Geelong, which when you got me on fan cams, like I said, is it tangible? Is it? I don't know. I don't know this time because it's hard to sustain. We saw it wasn't because this was the ultimate litmus test. Adelaide enjoy the pressure coming onto them. They want that because then they can go short in and around you, get into the midfield, game over. That's where the Blues have got to really look at themselves here because structurally it was poor. Tactically, it was poor. Ball movement wise, it was poor. And then application was incredibly poor. And I don't buy into they got on a plane for 2 hours.
Yeah, or 6-day break or none of that.
Like
they prefer a 6-day break, is what they say.
Yeah, and it feels like it's always. A couple of years ago, I made a pact to myself that I'm not going to give these boys an out. If you want to get someone better, I don't give my kids an excuse. So I'm not going to give. I love my kids, so I don't love the players or the football club half as much as I love my kids. So
yeah,
I'm not going to give them an excuse. This is the time. This is the time right now. We are in that window. We are in that window, and it's fascinating that. Talked about in the ratings, Rankine is a metronome of how their ball movement moves. You could see they like the ball in motion. They like it quick. The teams that have had success, ironically, Fremantle, who are probably the best in the league at taking any fun out of football. No offense to JL, but he can remove fun out of football very quickly. They struggled with that because their midfield slowed the game down to the extent that they had to play Fremantle's way. We didn't. And very quickly, we either play manic pace, 0.9 kick to handball ratio, or what you see this week, 2.9, slow, route 1 football, long, arduous, lots of touches without it. And that is something that you don't see from the top teams. The top teams, they own it, they control it. We still are very reactive. We're very passive. And it's fascinating for a club that exudes so much arrogance as Carlton Football Club does. It plays like a wet rag. Really does, bro. That's the nicest way I could see it. Incredible bravado, incredible arrogance. We've won 16 flags. Cripps is better than Bon. Walsh is better than Dacos. Our legend is better than your legend. They don't play like that on the park. On the park, they play exactly as this club has functioned on and off the field for 30 years. Mediocre. The last 10 years, the only team that hasn't played in a grand final is us, North and Gold Coast. We play like that. And right now, the vibe should be, who the fuck are Adelaide? The new up-and-comers? We've been here for 3 years. You're not having our spot in the 8.
Yeah.
And I don't see that because that would have been the mindset I would have had if I was a player. Yeah. Adelaide need to beat us to be in the 8, but they're not having my fucking spot. We've earned our spot. You can have the doggy spot. You can have someone Carlton spot. We're in the 8.
Yeah. It was an opportunity. Well, I mean, they got themselves into a hole. They seemingly started to turn the wheels of digging themselves out of the hole. They consolidated the questionable wins, if you call them, with a good win against the Cats. And I don't think many of us were shocked to lose to Adelaide. I think many, if not everyone, penciled it in as a loss pre-season. But I dare say the most surprising part was the manner. Like, we're still watching that give up attitude that haunted us and this team and this club for so long, and we seem to have gotten rid of that. And it wasn't like there were certain injuries on the day that contributed. I know Hawthorn late last year, like maybe you can try and make the excuse that we lost so many players on the day, and so we had less rotations and whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just try not to read too much into it.
What I've tried to drive all year, and it's rubbed people up the wrong way, because like I say, my DMs were hot after the Geelong game. Everyone wanted to quick ask me, what do I still feel of Voss? And I replied to some of them. Some of them I thought I'll just let you have your moment in the sun, but people that I respected, I replied to. And like I said to them, like, it's one game. Like round 24 will ultimately dictate if this system works. Why should we accept that it's Adelaide and it's tough? Like I see people who say we overawed by the occasion. Why should we accept that though as an excuse? Because I might have penciled the Adelaide game in as a maybe, because obviously I'm not stupid. You can't win 23 games a year, right? So you've got to lose some. But why do we have to accept it? Like, why? Like, I don't. Like, Luke Sayers doesn't pay my bills, and now the new Pratt doesn't pay my bills either. None of them chairwomen pay my bills. I mean, all the media department don't have any effect on my life, because I believe in these boys that they are a good football team, that on paper they should be there. So why can't they? Like, if you can do it against Geelong, why can't you do it against Adelaide? The game doesn't change much. And then people say stupid stuff like, we always lose to fast sides. Okay, but why don't you learn how to play fast sides? You've seen Geelong, who have been criticised in the preseason, too old, too slow. Collingwood, too old, too slow. They have methodologies to beat them. They get more attacking. They focus on the defending. Attacking sides generally are quick, don't have any defence. You've seen 5 teams this year make Adelaide look mediocre in the last 12 months. So why don't we do that? Like, that's my question. It's almost like we went into this game this week, and I always say this about Voss. That first quarter is almost like he can't be asked to research how they play. So we're going to set up in a very vanilla way, and then we'll react to it as it comes off. And it's another game against Adelaide, where Adelaide have relished the fact that we've gone defensive, tried to flood it to protect our players from their manic depression, their manic pressure, their manic pace. And we've just allowed them to come on to us. And before you know it, they're too good. They're too good, Adelaide. They can get that big pressure, scoreboard pressure. And once you have scoreboard pressure, you can control a game, Terry. It's so easy. It's something I say all the time. It was my one criticism in my review of Geelong. We still had a shit entry rate inside 50. So if we didn't have that lead, could we have held it? Could we have held it? And this week it was down 17% in the first quarter. So you never really had the opportunity to peg them back a bit. They could control it. And that worries me, because that's a problem we've had since 2016, Terry, our efficiency inside 50. That's not a new thing.
Yeah. Usually I try and find something to move forward with from a game. Is there anything from round 8 other than the game finished that can be used moving forward? It's one of the rare weeks where I've done the ratings with you. I'm like, oh yeah, that might work moving forward.
You know, if I could sit Voss down in a room, what I'd say to him is, my big criticism is how quickly you stray away from what you are. Like, look, I don't believe you can win a flag being manic pressure and anything else in 2025. I don't think having a defensive mindset can win you a flag or win you any sport anymore, because everyone is going to that quick attacking game style, because it's less on the legs. It's easy to sustain. And scoreboard pressure is number one in all facets of sport. I'd say to him, own it. Like, I would have loved, like I said to you in the ratings, I would have loved it if I'd seen Cripps on the attacking side, every centre bounce, every stoppage, what we praised him for last week. I would have loved it if he made them attacking moves and said, you know what? If we lose by 60, 70, 80. But you know what? We're going to die trying. I feel like that is what we do very quickly. We quickly shelve that and go, right, this is not going to work. Let's hold on. And that's what makes me sad, because if you believe in it strongly, I saw Chris Scott double down on their system. I saw this week Richmond versus Hawthorn. Richmond, the one thing I give Richmond huge credit for, they never stray away from that game style. It bites them in the arse, big style, like that second half. Poor boys, they were trying to do it. They don't have the personnel. They don't have the mental fragility. They don't have the skill yet. But you know what? Fair play. You did that for 4 quarters and you copped a hiding. And really for Richmond, it's get better next week. And if you have a few next weeks that you're better, before you know it, you're back in the window. Feels really quick. And ultimately, it makes me sad, Terry, because I feel like we are a proud club. And like the fear of consequence, what's that? Like genuinely, maybe I'm heartless. How can you be scared of succeeding?
Well, there is no consequences for them. There are no real consequences for them because they got rewarded. They got paid for what they produced on the weekend.
Yeah, but so does every club, Terry. Like,
yeah, very few of these top dogs get punished with their spot in the side. You know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but like, who's driving it though? Like Cripper, God bless him. Surely, if you sat Cripps down, do you want to go through 2017 again? He'd say no.
Yeah.
And he's coming to the end of his career. Wheater he was there. Like I said, he'll probably have flashbacks from when he first was drafted, being under the high ball for 75 times. Surely this is being driven, isn't it? This is driving you. Voss, he failed horrifically as a coach. Surely he doesn't want to do that again. Does he? Yeah. Regardless if he's being paid, at the end of the day, success has got to come into it. I know money does, but do you want to keep doing this? I don't. I'm sure they don't.
Yeah. I know. I felt just an air of acceptance all around. Like, I don't think the fan cams was a brutal review of the club. I think it was a bit scathing at times, but not really. There was a bit of, okay, well, just let's move on from that quickly, which I personally loved, and it's the truth. I mean, 6 days, play St Kilda, but there is, I don't know how you feel about this, and those of you watching at home, I just get this eerie feeling that if what we saw against the Crows happens against the Saints, then blood will boil. I didn't see a lot of blood boiling after Saturday, but I feel it will definitely boil this Friday night.
I'm genuinely shocked in my heart of hearts that we sit 13th on the ladder after 8 games and blood isn't seething.
Yeah.
That, I can't tell you how much that hurts my core. Do you know what I mean? That we're 3-5 and everyone's like, it's okay, we'll beat the Saints. Sydney is shocking at home. It's all right. Dan Hoyne told us that we're the #1 defensive profile in the league when we're looking at the top 8 score goals for fun. That's where the game's moved on to. Like, I don't understand it. I don't understand it. And like what Michael says, I'm not saying fuel hate, but fuel a little bit of disappointment. It's okay to be disappointed. I feel like I'm genuinely worried that sport is becoming like society and the pursuit of excellence is secondary to the pursuit of happiness. And that worries me, Terry. That worries me dramatically, because if we're really this bad, if we're really a 3-5 side after this stage, okay, that's fine. But if that's what we've aspired to be, okay, but I haven't. Yeah. I want to be up there with Gold Coast, Hawthorn, Collingwood, Lions. That's what I signed up for.
How is Carlton not the up-and-coming force in the league? Like, how?
Well, I mean,
it's not like it's the new game plan that we've got to wait for Vossi to implement. It's the fourth season of it. We're a third of the way into the fourth season of the Voss Experience. So it's, everything adjusts every year. You tinker with things as the game evolves. Like, I understand that, but the fundamentals of what the game plan are, it should be subconscious for a lot of them now. Is that too much of a stretch of an expectation?
yeah, but you also hear Voss, don't you, say that, oh, well, it's been nice now because I've had the same backline. Like, for me, he still makes them excuses because I watched Geelong release their injury list and Chris Scott go, do I release an injury list? He didn't know. And then you have the media doing the investigations. It's the biggest injury list and it's the biggest lie injury list because they had an average of one every week. They still worked it out, didn't they?
Yeah.
They still worked out a way. Like, we should be working out a way. Like, I feel like that is everything that's wrong with the club, Terry. It felt like that second half when I watched it was literally, it felt like 3 years ago watching the club, where it was, if Cripps does something amazing, if Kerno does something amazing, if Harry does something amazing, we may win this. And the other teams find ways, Terry. Other teams find ways, and it's massive. We do the ratings show this year, haven't we? And that's like probably the most sophisticated ratings on YouTube by a long way.
Yeah.
Look at the best to the worst of the players. It's like a massive drop-off.
We should actually do it for other teams now. Just the rating show.
It is, yeah. And I think the big thing is the fear factor, isn't it? The fear factor. Like,
fear from the fans or fear?
No, from the opposition. I don't think there's something that I watch a lot of games of footy on my channel, and something I say that there's a certain ominous feeling about certain teams. Like watching Geelong, watching that game, I was like, there's an ominous feeling though about Geelong when you're playing so well when you're just 2 goals in front. Because it feels like Geelong have that ability to suddenly out of nowhere be beaten up, keep it close, then jump back into it. I don't think that exists with Carlton. And I genuinely feel the way teams beat up on us, I think other players know as well. And we've had it quite a lot, haven't we? We've had it quite a lot. Opposition coaches have taken the piss quite a bit out of Carlton. You had Sam Mitchell say, ask them a question, eventually they'll give you the answer. And it'll be a Hawthorn win. You had Scott last week not give Carlton any respect. Said it was all them. And you saw how Carlton fans acted. This is unfair. We didn't get our just desserts. He should be saying we're good. I think maybe he gave you the answer. Why give them respect? Because you probably can beat them if you ask the right questions.
Well, not to get too far ahead in the show, but I know what you said there about the fear, but if there's one thing that Ross Lyon can do is cook up a strategy where the Saints just continue to ask the question of Carlton for as long as possible until we fold. Now, I remember 2023 when we were vibing and we cracked that game plan. But I just don't know what kind of attitude we're going to get from week to week now. Like, are they going to be switched on and locked in this Friday? If they are, then I've got confidence. But if they don't come with the attitude for long enough, there's every chance it will get done.
I agree. I mean, look, I said it in my preview, and I disagree with Michael about people would have feared us after the Geelong game, because I think if I was the Adelaide coach, and Nick's kind of alluded to it himself, that was the best game plan to play against Adelaide. Adelaide would have relished that because they genuinely let you come at them. That's why there's been such high-scoring games, because that's their strength is get you high up the ground, go over the top of you with pressure. So I genuinely think I would have watched that game as an opposition coach and gone, okay, they do it on their terms, but if we get the jump on them early, or if we eat off some inside 50s incredibly quickly, You watch these boys refuse to do that kick. And like I said, the big thing we did against Geelong, that kick was dangerous for Geelong. It wasn't dangerous for Adelaide. Adelaide were brave. They've got 4 or 5 players that take that kick on for days. So, yes, it might work against Geelong, who are probably vulnerable with ball users down the back half of the ground. But Gold Coast will love that. Hawthorn, they relished it. Pies, they relish it. Lions, they'll relish it. That's the problem. It's having that option too.
Yeah. We did touch on it a bit in the ratings. Practically speaking, now moving forward, how many players can you reasonably make changes for this week? Because it seemed like there were, in the chat, there were maybe like 4 or 5 of them that changes would be made for. It is Monday night. Don't know the status of Jack Silvani, if he's going to be available. Don't know the status of Matt Cottrell and what's happening there. There was an ankle from last week. Based off that, based off the poor performances over a number of weeks from certain players, like how many changes can you reasonably make to this team to beat St Kilda? Because that's the most important thing in this moment.
Well, in all honesty, I think you could go into the game, providing none of the injured players are injured, 1 or 2 changes. Like, I'm not a big call the entire team type player. I do agree with Voss. You've got to try and keep it as stable as possible.
Yeah.
But on the counter to that, there's certain players in that team that I'm not too sure why you're putting the time into them and that role into them. So Motlop, we criticised. Doc, we criticised. We criticised, obviously, Young's a stopgap, so he'd have to do that. He'd have to change. It is tough, though, because obviously you've got the short turnaround from the VFL game, but like, for me, you pick the best team that wins, and that's up to Voss. Like, but you've got to, I'd hope Voss is picking a team to say, let's not negate their strengths. Let's play to our strengths.
The Duke Leverage Show. Carlton FC has allowed favourite sons to do jack with zero accountability. We changed coaches like socks, but have harboured rosters of pretenders for years, creating a toxic, lazy, indifferent culture. You brought up something, thank you, mate. You brought up something about Doc's role, and you sort of compared it to Adelaide, for example. So Doc comes in and plays. How would you describe the Doc role?
Well, it was meant to be a wing. It was meant to be what we see Ollie Hollands play last week.
Yeah.
And obviously, ultimately, field territory changes your heat map substantially. And he was what? Very ineffective, wasn't he? Let's be honest. He was incredibly ineffective. And it makes me question, you look at all the older players, they're going further back behind the ball.
Yeah.
Back behind the ball. Carlton have had this idea to play him ahead of the ball.
So, I mean, we're talking Zorko, we're talking Rory Laird, these types.
I think Rory Laird would be the greatest example, because I think the biggest question mark about Rory Laird, obviously forget the fact he didn't have ACLs and cancer like Dotdig, but I think the question mark on Laird for his entire career has been his ball use. Has never been good. He's always been a guy that loves a panic kick. And that's probably the same as Doc, isn't it, really? I think even when he was brilliant, Doc has always loved the boom the thing as far as it can possibly go. I don't know why we don't play him in the VFL. I loved him in the VFL last week because I thought that was exactly the way he would teach and best be used. Teach them young blokes a standard. If you can get ahead of me, you're going to be very good.
Yeah. VFL? What did you see from the VFL, and those of you at home as well? What did you watch from the VFL from a genuine he could play this week standpoint?
I mean, I think if we're being really high level, I always look at my VFL as a bit different to other people. I don't look at VFL as if, can I play you? I look at it as if, would I be thinking about these players if we'd won? And at the moment, we're in a situation that everyone's angry. Everyone wants to drop 7 players. So we'll try and pigeon them in. I mean, let's go with the club's best on ground. Jackson Binns, his first game of the year where he looks relatively interested. And the big criticism you've got at this club is the development. People get gifted games. I think straight away that would be the ultimate gift, because I think Ben Camporelli and Lucas have outshone him all year, been very proactive. To suddenly give him the spot last minute, I think that is so counterintuitive. Jordan Boyd continues to amass possessions this week, but I would question he's been done for a while. He's not been picked for a while. So why suddenly is he playing high up the ground on the ball and in and around the ball? Outside of that, Ben, he got injured towards the end. Lucas was okay. Harry Charlson probably had his best game. And then the concern for me was seeing young Francis Evans playing the exact Motlop role. And I was like, oh, I've seen this before. Hudson did pretty well, though, to be fair, but he's a long way off AFL football. I mean, to be honest, if you held a gun to my head and said, would you bring any of them in? No, not really. Yeah. Totally honest. That includes Jordan Boyd, because I feel like Jordan Boyd has gone as far as he can take you.
And you don't want to be dropping Matt Carroll after one poor performance. I mean,
everyone was raving about him last week. And this is again my issue with development. Other clubs don't just one in, one out, treat a player like a tampon. They give them a chance to redeem themselves. A chance. This is a learning curve for Matt Carroll. I was reactive. I went against my skill set. I hope that footage that you had Nick Newman with Dean, I hope that's what's kind of happening to Matt Carroll in the review this week. A couple of times there where you didn't attack the ball, you dropped back and made it easy for yourself. If you had that again, would you have gone and closed down that space? Come off your man, back yourself in. I hope that's happened, and he gets the opportunity this week to do it, because Adelaide, the one thing I'll give you an excuse, their forward line is scary, and I'd imagine most established defenders shit themselves. But I'd love to be in a situation where we say, you know what, go again, mate. And then say to Jordan Boyd, your first good game all VFL year where you've stood out, do it again. You're not getting back into this side until you prove it.
Yeah. I hope that message gets through to the wider Carlton fan base, because I think a lot of the time, and I understand why it happens, a lot of the time it's we need to drop these players, they've underperformed, and that is not wrong, but the alternative is not syncing up with the other options. So it's Motlop, for example, he's had 2 really poor games now in a row. So, okay, the criticism is he's not performing, he's just nowhere near it, he's lacking confidence. Agreed. But then the other option right now looks like it's Francis Evans. And then it's like, well, what are we doing playing Francis Evans? We're going nowhere with him. He's not part of the future. You got to invest in the kids. It's like, okay, well, there's a 21-year-old named Jesse Motlop. What's the balance?
You make a good point, Tara. I mean, what people forget, let's look at Jackson Binns, right? For example, right? This week, right? So you look at his game. What I like to do is actually do something that I don't think many people do when they analyze games. And that is, can you do this in AFL? Right?
Yeah.
So let's look at it. Jackson Binns this week played exclusively as the outlet ball, exclusively as a winger, having only 9 contested possessions, going at a contested possession rate of 28%, which is what every winger in the AFL does. Right. Okay. So we remember that. And we go, okay, winger. That's what wingers do. Then you look at Carlton when they play in the seniors. You had Lucas Camporelli, after doing the same in practice, plays round 1 game, going at 50% contested possessions. This week, you look at our wingers. They were in the high. They were almost had inside midfield numbers, Terry, contested possessions. So my issue with Jackson Binns is, really good. Brilliant. He's never, in a month of Sundays at Carlton Football Club, been allowed to keep his Whitfall day, and we say, you know what, we'll find you. Because The only players that had contested possessions less than him were, funny enough, Matthew Carroll, Sam Doherty, Corey Durden, Adam Sard. So do the math there. None of them are wingers. So that's one of them things that really worries me as well. That, okay, Jackson Binns is playing that role. I've never seen Carlton play that winger role, ever.
Yeah.
So what's the point of it? Because he's never going to play like that. I'd rather play him on the ball in preparation to play on the wing.
Can we unpack the conversation around rebuild, go to the draft, and the misalignment there, and the realities of this list is what it is, and this is what we've paid for, and this is it? We started unpacking it in the ratings, and I cut you off a bit.
The most ridiculous thing I have heard from Carlton fans when we lose, and it's one that makes me just want to punch myself in the face until I black out, is we've got to rebuild, we've got to reset, let's sell Harry, let's sell McGovern and rebuild a list. But then on the same token, the same Carlton fans cry that we've got Francis Evans on the list. They kid themselves that Liam McMahon, Heath Ramshaw are suddenly going to bring them into a top 8. On the same token, they complain about all the mid-season draft players we've got. Carlton are going into this off-season at the minute with 3 picks in the draft, numerous players out of contract, in that list as well of out-of-contract players. Fuck all value, Terry. Fuck all value. Like, you look at Carlton's players who are out of contract this year and just try and sell them. It's impossible. Like Alex Chincotta, let's say you delist him. 0 value on the trade table as a non-free agent. Billy Wilson, 0 value. Brodie Kemp, you got pick 49, was offered from St Kilda, probably about a pick in the late 50s with his second ACL in his career. Francis Evans, unrestricted, so you couldn't get anything. George Hewitt, unrestricted, you couldn't get anything. Harry Charlson, 0 value. Lemmy, 0 value. Jack Silvani, unrestricted, so no value, he's free. Jesse Motlop, like some people go, oh, I'll just trade Jesse Motlop back to Adelaide or to Fremantle. They'll pay for him. You've got a player right now who's currently playing on the ball and he's never played it as a junior. Right? So can you imagine ringing Adelaide up and saying, we want a second rounder? They'd be like, are you going to throw in one of the other scrubs you've got off the list? Because we're going to give you a third. Like, he's probably Joe Richards' value. And that's been complimentary, because then when people say, oh, but he could be good, if you're asking another club to do the work, they're going to pay it. But then you look at the other players. Matt Carroll, he'd have no value. Do you know what I mean? Because 10 a penny are halfbacks. Mitch McGovern, right? Non-free agent. Would there be a value there, though? Would there? I don't think anyone would pay money. And if you do, you're not going to get a better player for the value you get for Mitch McGovern. You're going to get a development player in the draft. Nick Haynes, 0 value. Nick Newman, 0 value. And people might say, but Pom, their leadership. No one buys leadership experience for high value.
Yeah.
Look at Luke Hodge. What was his pick? It was something like a pick in the 50s.
Yeah.
And he's a champion. Nick Newman ain't no Luke Hodge. Orazio Fantasia, no value. Sam Doherty, no value. The only one you've got value is TDK, and you'll get a first rounder should he walk. Carlton can't pretend to match the bid without already deleting some of these players or proving that they've signed severance papers with them that will fit in the cap. 1.7 million is a preordained cap heist. So Carlton get 1 pick. So already, let's just say we get rid of Tom de Koning. That first rounder has to be used as a Tom de Koning replacement or someone as good as. And then the other picks are in their 30s. Carlton ain't going to trade next year's future because Cody Walker is a potential top 5 pick. They'll trade it maybe next year, but very few clubs trade the future unless they know where they are. Suddenly you've got a situation where people are talking about delisting 8 players and we're going to have to bring in 8 players. What kind of players do you think you bring in when you have no draft stock? Shit ones. Francis Evans. So Carlton's fans' suggestion to fix this list is delist 8 shit players. Hopefully rip a club off and tell them that they're going to be good, which no club falls for it. And then kidding themselves that Liam McMahon, Heath Ramshaw, and then 6 scrubs are going to make us a top 8 side. It's not going to happen. This is the list.
That last 5 minutes or however long that just went for has to be understood. Like,
Yeah.
I get the frustration week to week, drop him, cut him, trade him. Like, I get it. But there's emotion, and we say things in emotion, and then we need to think about it logically and accept the reality for what it is.
When people say, like, I've seen some stuff like Brodie Kemp, surely we could get a first for him. The best way I could give you the analogy for Brodie Kemp is it's like me having a 2024 Hyundai that's worth 20k. Problem is the engine's fucked, right? So I say to you, I want 15,000 and you put an engine in, but you get a bargain. You're going to turn around and say, I'll give you 5k. Like, you're not going to pay full whack when you don't get retail for shit, right? So you'll get a worse offer for Brodie Kemp this year than you did last. So Sauce was willing to give us what? I think it was 46 it worked out to be. Carlton wanted more.
Yeah.
You won't get 46 this year.
No.
You'll be
not a guy that's
get,
done an Achilles.
Yeah, 54. You'll be looking to get 54. Multiple injured. We don't know what his position is. I ain't doing it. All the players out of contracts, I wouldn't give you a squirt of piss for. Like, genuinely, if I was a list manager. That includes Jack Silvani. Because Jack Silvani, if I was a list manager at the opposition, I would be worried that he plays good football because he loves Carlton. So I think he surpasses his expectations because of the loyalty factor. So I would be looking at him and go, I ain't risking that, because why would he leave Carlton? It's probably his dad and his granddad. That's why he plays like that. Us here at North Melbourne, he ain't going to give a shit about us. Then you look at it. Then you've got more problems. People don't talk about this. So if I was a list manager right now, I'd be looking to see how Carlton look at this and go, right, okay, what are Carlton going to be doing with their list management now? Because people are worried about TDK next year. You've got Sam Walsh in the same situation. So suddenly you've got a great little thing, haven't you? You've got a great little thing that we could be in this situation again. So let's just say Carlton finished 14th this year. TDK goes, infinitely makes us weaker. You can't get a replacement for TDK with the compensation without jeopardizing future drafts, right? Suddenly, Carlton could be a sitting duck there, because next year we've got a load more players out of contract. So the cycle repeats. So the situation at this stage, in summary, is over the next 2 years, Carlton have got to be really clever, because when people say trade Harry Mackay, the AFL rules are quite clear. When a player trades, you encompass their contract. He's currently on $1 million a year for the next 6-7 years, right? So you ain't getting 2 firsts for Harry Mackay. He's had 2 bad years out of 3.
Right.
He's in and out of the side. If you rang me and said, oh, Pom, mate, Nick Austin here, you're list manager at Melbourne. Oh, yeah. How you doing, Nick? You know what, mate? I'll pay half for 8 years if you give us 2 firsts. I'd be like, how do I know he's going to be good? Could be Josh Shackey 2.0. I mean, we might have seen the best. I'm buying him at a loss leader, right? Do you know what I mean? So when people say he has value, he doesn't in the real world, because you are asking another club to take a risk, like we did with Zach Williams, like we did with Mitch McGovern. You are taking a risk. Normal clubs don't make that mistake. So they will offer unders. They will offer maybe a first, maybe 2 firsts if you pay a ridiculous amount of the salary, but that then affects your cap. Yeah, but Michael, clubs don't buy players. Like, it's all right. I know you want to defend the club, but I'm asking you to be real. You ain't going to get the value for Harry because you like him and he won a Coleman and he made you happy for 2 minutes. If I'm a list manager, Harry's been off through personal reasons. He's had 2 bad years since winning that Coleman. He was okay, if we're honest, last year. And it's a big, big contract for someone that's going to guarantee me 60 a year. And you're asking me to do 2 things: keep him happy, number 1, and number 2, make sure I can get a value for him. I can't guarantee that. So you have to depreciate the price. So I take the risk.
So then it's almost as if this is the lot, this is the group, and they've got to figure it out.
It is the group. Like, you've got to say right now, Carlton are in a horrible situation.
Totally.
Because the list management, they've ploughed money into the midfield. So what the club is telling us, this midfield is ours. Is ours. This is the midfield for the next till Cripps retires, right?
Yeah.
And then we shouldn't even be having a conversation about A graders.
True.
Like, because we've already got them on the list. We should be looking now for your Toby Bedfords to complement the list. We're looking for our 6 out of 10 hard yakka players.
Yeah.
And if you're saying, right, okay, but like Jim Pav, I don't know if he's taking the piss, but like Lewis Young is the type of player you have on the list as your backup while Harry Farrell develops. Very able backup. People slate him. But who would you bring in? Because Carlton don't have the cap space to last year bring in Tom Barras. So Lewis Young isn't a feature. Like, you've got to think of it like sensibly. Carlton have put, and then Carlton have this obsession. This is a worry for me. Carlton have this obsession, like the fan base do, of keeping the list together. Keeping the list together.
The stability part.
The worst part of contracts, and you look, it's not the value that fucks you, it's the length of deal. Because when you trade a player, that contract is enveloped. Players aren't going to renegotiate. Look at Brodie Grundy. Brodie Grundy didn't renegotiate his contract to be a good guy to go to Melbourne. What did he say? You gave me 7 years. I want that for fucking cent for cent, term for term. So Melbourne offered a low ball figure and Collingwood paid for it, which they're still paying for. Now he's at Sydney. So that's what will happen. So if you do trade Harry, we're going to have to come to the table. Because Harry's not going to go, oh, I love Carlton, they're my mates. I'll do it for half. He's going to want the full figure. So that's where you make a risk. When you put players on long-term deals, you also ruin your ability to fix it. So Nick Austin, Voss, Brad Lloyd, they've sat down and said, this list is our list for 3 to 4 years.
Yeah. Question.
Mm-hmm.
To you and those at home. Can it turn around this year?
Oh, 100%. Like I keep saying it. This system.
Do you still have that belief in you that it can turn and come good and the prophecy can be fulfilled and the potential is fulfilled? Do you still have that in you?
Terry, look, I'll say this. The way this system plays, do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? The way this system plays, if it works, 100%, no one can fight it when it works. The issue is, you've seen it against Dogs, you saw it against Richmond, you saw it against Collingwood, and you saw it against Adelaide. When it's not perfect, no. As it stands at this moment, I would be incredibly surprised if we're doing a show second week of finals. I would be incredibly surprised if we even are here in finals. Incredibly.
Yeah.
And that is where the problem is, because what I'm trying to tell you, there isn't the maneuverability to what people say do at Collingwood. You look at what Collingwood did, their players were good enough for them to take the bite on paying a bit of Grundy's deal, paying a bit of Trelaw's deal, and ascertaining value from it. We won't get value from our players.
Sorry, Joel. Maybe I can answer it as a yes or no question. Do you still believe that Carlton can play finals football in 2025 and qualify? because I did a ladder predictor.
Oh, no.
Man, the draw. We've been gifted a draw. We really have. We were actually seemingly gifted top 4. And if they can just get their shit together, they can qualify. I think top 4 is done, personally. But I don't know.
Terry, look, anything's possible. And I keep saying it. Look, I said it in the Geelong game. When that system works, few teams can go with it because it requires balls of steel. Problem is it sustainable? And then my second caveat to that is if you just play finals, then what is the fix? So let's just say you play finals. Let's say you go out week 1. Right. You'll be in a situation next year where you've got to do something. So let's say we keep TDK. So if you keep TDK, it's probably going to be about, you might be able to get him done earlier, 1.1, 1.2 million. Yeah?
Right.
Still going to be a big knock on your salary cap. It's obvious that's above what Carlton have planned long term. How do you get them to the next stage then?
The Great White Hope, Jagger.
Okay. So then, with all their midfield, how does that midfield look?
Yeah, that part I don't know.
Yeah, how does that midfield look? Like, they're the next questions. What are you bringing in with them limited funds? Because them next, we've only got 3 picks next year. Remember that. So if you do keep TDK, you're going to have to use future picks. Now, you've also got to remember people have tried to start doing the future picks like absolutely mentally and thinking that they still value. You've got to remember that lots of NGAs, lots of father sons in the next 3 years. So them values now are even less. Only your first really has any value. Your second has a little bit of it. Second,
do you mean the new system where you can trade future picks 2 seasons in advance?
Yeah, so you can split 2 futures in a row. So you've got to remember that other clubs also know that them values aren't good. And then people are starting to do stupid stuff. Harry Dean's gone okay. Key defenders who aren't top 3 in the draft are any good in the first year, right? So you look at Luke Traynor, a guy that I had, and I think there was a few Carlton fans who reckoned he was cooked and rubbish. It's been brilliant. Playing as the 3rd tall down the back. Carlton don't have that luxury to play Harry Dean straight away. And I'd say 3rd tall down the back's not in a list of our top 10 list needs. Then you look at Ison, you look at Gresham. These guys ain't making a difference in your first year of football. Maybe in 2026, 2027 they are. Jagger isn't going to shoot you from 8th to 1st. It's going to be a POD, but that's about it. Cody Walker, cool your jets. It's 2 years away. You don't plan for the future by ignoring you now. So at the minute, what my question is to you in the chat, if this isn't the list, how do you propose you get out of it?
Yeah. Jim Junkie, mate, I understand. I accept who they are, but we've just given you the whole rundown of the reality of the situation. Like, what do you want to do? You want to delist the 8 players who don't play well every week to get 8 worse players? I just don't know.
Exactly. So, and the positives I can give you is there's certain things that Carlton can look at doing. Do you know what I mean? So, like, Ben Camporelli should, I don't know what the state of his injury is at this stage. I don't think the club's done it, but he did look very ginger. But, like, is Ben Camporelli at the buy an option for Carlton to maybe? You can tell that the position, I guarantee you that, and I hope I'm right about this, so I can't guarantee it, but the way I read it, I guarantee that Motlop's position is Jaggers. Spurt 20 minutes on the ball, move there. So is that Ben Camporelli? Do you rush that now? Do you rush that now and go, look, tell you what, you are an inside mid. You can play across half forward. There is certain things like that. But I would say for me at the minute, you can't be looking at the future It has to be the now. This list isn't now. Carlton are too far in it now to rebuild.
It's too far gone.
Yeah, because you can't do it. So, like, get these ideas out of your head that Chera is worth something on an open market. Walsh, all these players. This is the list. It's got to be done now. And the adaptation will be internally, systematically, and moving forward, maybe an evolution as Cody Walker, Jagger get legs.
Yeah. I just want to turn, well, just to maybe to add to this, right? Just to turn the focus to this week. This is the reality of what's happening right now. I'm not doing a ladder predictor. No. No, I'm not doing a ladder predictor yet. I'm just turning to this week. And I'm looking at the teams who were sort of hereabouts in sort of like this group. Because I think up the top here, they've kind of solidified themselves here. Like, I'm pretty confident the Lions and the Pies are going to be there, the Hawks as well to a certain extent. How far down do you go before you say these teams just cannot make the 8? Like, how are you? I mean, 8 games in, how are you grouping the league right now?
Purely on the system that they play.
Okay.
So, in that, Eagles, 0 chance. North, 0 chance. Richmond, 0 chance. Melbourne, 0 chance. Sydney Swans, 30% chance. Carlton, 15% chance. Port Adelaide, 15% chance. Essendon, 10% chance. St Kilda, Sydney. It's negating. Fremantle, because of where they are, probably about 60.
Okay. How many of the top 8 do you think will stay in the top 8 at the end of the year?
Brisbane Pies. Hawthorn, as long as they get no more injuries, but I'll skip them. Gold Coast, see Hawthorn. I'm still not convinced against good sides they can keep doing that. Crows, see. At this stage, I'd say Geelong will be there, Dogs will be there, Hawthorn will be there, Pies, Brisbane.
Okay. Fair.
And my locks, I think Gold Coast will have just enough to keep their necks above.
Fair. And how are you tipping this week? I'll run through your tips this week.
Oh, fuck. Let me have a look at the list because it's too small for my old eyes.
Fremantle, Collingwood at Optus.
This is a hard game, innit? Because this is the most Fremantle thing to win this game.
Yes.
Like, we've all jumped off and then Fremantle get their dicks out and play fucking quality ball. Pies by 20.
Okay. Saints, Blues.
Carlton by 15.
Melbourne, Hawthorn.
Hawthorn by a lot.
Essendon, Sydney.
Pom's controversial lock of the week. Essendon by 10.
Okay. Gold Coast, Dogs, TIO Stadium.
See, I think it's obvious Gold Coast win this, but I think the Doggies, I really like the Doggies, bro.
Okay.
Players back.
Playing well with no excuses when they had excuses to give.
The way they played with no players, and now they're getting their sexy players back. Great to watch.
Port, Adelaide.
It's no surprise that I am Team Flag Crom. Crows.
Richmond, West Coast, MCG.
Tigers.
Geelong, GWS in Geelong.
Fraudulent. Geelong. Long way.
Really?
Actually a football team.
Ooh.
Oh, I told you all round zero.
You did. You
GWS were
did.
frauds.
You did. You did.
And they keep losing, and everyone's still like, "Oh, the orange team." Listen to Uncle Tom. Frauds.
North Melbourne, Brisbane, Ninja Stadium.
Like, I think North have shown their hand. Petulant, childish last week with the way they reacted about Shizu. Brisbane to stick the dagger in the heart.
Okay. So that's what it could look like.
People saying that Gold Coast don't lose. They don't, but I reckon it's a different Gold Coast, to be honest. I think the dogs are very good.
Yeah. Okay, Friday night, St Kilda at the MCG. I think the last time we played the Saints at the MCG was that game late in 2019. That was How About the Baggers by my man Stevie. That was the last time I remember. I think Jacob Wiedering was laid out that day, and Levi Casbolt had to play back. And 55,000 were at the MCG that day, and it was vibes. What happens on Friday night, and how do the Saints stop the Blues on Friday night?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's certain things that St Kilda will know about. So one of the big concerns for me is Carlton's ability to create a chain into a score. We're one of the bottom four sides. Like Fremantle with us, basically meaning we fanny about with the ball too much.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But then there's them positives. Carlton are one of the top slingshot sides in the league. We just don't have enough of it, but when they do it, they get there. St Kilda are a very ominous side, though. They're almost like Audi Adelaide. People aren't talking about them enough. Their ability to go from defensive half to forward 50, very similar in profile to how Adelaide, probably just a little bit more methodical.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is Ross knows how to beat us, doesn't he?
Yes.
Ross knows how to put that midfield to funnel Carlton out wide, knowing that Carlton will eventually slow down. Once Carlton lose their speed, it's game over. Game over very quickly. So for the Saints, it's more Carlton have got to impose their game style, and Saints have been one of them interesting teams that I don't know if it's a respect thing from Voss. I don't know if it's a player thing. I don't know what it is. Carlton have always struggled under Ross, particularly to impose their game style every time we've played them. So like the one you mentioned was years ago, wasn't it? It was before this. For some reason, Ross, even in pre-season, showed you very quickly what we're seeing now. Slow Carlton down. Don't let them have it on their terms. They're not a thinking side. So for me, if I'm Saints, slow them down. Slow the Blues down. If you've got to be that horrible man-on-man kicking defence that I always take the piss out of Saints and Fremantle for doing, that's what you do with us. Make Carlton think about it. Ask them the question. They'll eventually crumble.
Yeah. That's the thing that I think of when I think about Friday night. Ross
on the flip, how do we beat them? Play to your strengths. So I want to see every stoppage, every clearance, we play an extra ahead of the ball. Back TDK this week to win 30, 40 hitouts. Back Cripps, back Hewitt, whoever's on the ball, that they're going to get the ball 30 times and they're going to distribute it. Don't be affected by their wide players because their wide players are soft. St Kilda's wide players don't have fight in them. So trust Akers to stay wide. Trust Akers to keep his width. Trust Ollie to play that attacking role. Keep your width. We'll get the ball out to you and we take it to them. And you watch them. Their backline scares me about Adelaide. Looking at that team, the one vulnerability of Adelaide was their backline. Jordan Butts, Mark Keane. Get it in deep enough and frequently enough. Win. We looked very respectful. Same as Saints backline. Outside of Callum Wilkie, you wouldn't have a fucking clue who the rest of the other five are.
Yeah.
So get it in there. Make them ask the question. Put them under pressure. Bring the game on your terms. And this is an ultimate test for me. We'll learn all about Voss because these boys should be going out there. And I mean this with all respect to St Kilda. they shouldn't be in the fucking conversation. This shouldn't be a 50-50 game.
Yeah. I'm curious to see about this group because I personally don't believe that the fan sentiment has been anywhere near as vicious and as venomous as what it was post Collingwood. So how do the boys self-motivate themselves to say, all right, we need to respond? Because I think after Collingwood, it was 0-4, and I was like, okay, shit. That's when we started hearing real talk about mental weakness and fragility and things like that, and honest conversations for the fourth time. And you could tell that there was a shift there. So I'm really curious to see their attitude and how much the Adelaide game really pissed them off.
Look, the way that the boys played this week, Harry, absolute bubble.
Yeah, bubble.
Like Jordan Butts, if Jordan Butts read the comments of, oh, he's got some value because he won a Coleman, Jordan Butts would probably burst out laughing and go, fucking hell, I must be worth 3 first then. Like, he's got to be going into this game and going, okay, look, I had a bad week this week, but it's at the G, wide ground, bit of spread. I'm going to beat up on these fuckers. And you know what? If I don't beat up on them, I'm going to take Callum Wilkie deep. So Charlie has a day out. I'm going to do the team thing. Honestly, bro, all due respect, as much as I hate the Blues at the minute and the way they're playing, genuinely, this isn't a 50-50 game, Terry. If this is a 50-50 game, fuck. I'm genuinely, we haven't fucked up the rebuild. We destroyed it.
Yeah, I do feel that a bit. I do feel the knife's edge with this week. I think, yeah, a win doesn't mean we're back, but a loss certainly means like, oh shit.
Look, like I said to you on the Geelong fan cam, people complained I wasn't positive enough. Means fuck all, because Carlton still owe me another game.
Yeah.
They owe me another game. And this isn't the game. Win, lose. This was always a win. This was the banker. Right? The Sydney is the next game that you can maybe win me back. Sydney away. Bona fide top 8 side for a long time. That's one that will impress me. Saints, we should be looking. You didn't play finals. We did. We only beat top 8 sides as a must. We walk over the bottom half. And that's respect to Saints. Like, I'm a big fan of the Saints. But we're not at the start. We should be at the end.
What a night. That was great. Watching Carlton on a Friday night.
Mate, 3 out of 3. Like, genuinely. If we're a bona fide football side, let me come on next week with my dick hard. Right? And up and about that a Voss masterclass, this pressure game maybe will be good enough.
Yeah.
And we should be undefeated till the bye. That's the level we're talking about. I don't want to hear none of this 2 out of 3 shit. None of this, oh, we just got to survive till Jack Silvani's back. None of the standard is 3 out of 3. If it's not 3 out of 3, why not? Who's at fault? Who's to blame? Like, that's the levels I'm talking about. People get upset. I have a high standard, and it annoys me because I'm not Australian. I wasn't born into this shindig, right? For me, I respect the club so much that the standard is fucking perfection. It's not making up the numbers. This ain't a social club. This ain't a little fucking, oh, it's all right, we're doing a bike ride tomorrow. This is winning flags. That's the standard for me, Terry. 3 out of 3, because we started 0 and 3 when we should have been 2 and 3 minimum. They owe me a win. They got one back to Geelong. We go in there with form. Like, none of this, oh, let's just get by.
I love it.
Have some fucking respect for the club. You know what? When people say this, oh, let's raise the manogram. You know what I want to raise? The fucking standards. That's what I want to raise from every single last bastard one of you. None of this, oh, Jesus is out. Oh, Jacket in his ACL, please. Standards, Terry. That's what I want. I want 17 flags. And if I don't have 17 flags, why not?
Fair play.
I'm with
Fair
Joel.
play.
Joel's converted me. Might be a miserable bastard, our Joel, but by heck, is he right?
He's right.
We want to win a flag. We don't want to be happy. That's what I want everyone to think. Flags make me happy. Winning makes me happy. Not being a fuck-up failure of a football team makes me happy. Not being a meme makes me happy. Let's strive for excellence. And when we don't get it, we demand excellence. We demand a head. A head. Someone gets fired if we don't go 3 from 3. I want another cunt fired, Terry.
Blood and a skull.
Genuinely, look, they fired some prick 3 weeks ago. I want a fucking another head. If they're not 3 and 3, some fucker gets fired. I get to choose. I get to go in there on fucking Monday and buy, and they say, Pom, you can fire anyone you want, and I'll pick someone. I'll be like, who's behind on their mortgage? They're getting fucking fired. I mean, let's do it.
You're a crazy bastard. I fucking love it. Come on. Let's just look ahead to Friday night. It's gonna be scenes.
Yeah, it's St Kilda, man. Like, I love Jake, but this is a guy who wore a fucking tie because he got a 2-goal win against a side in fucking round 4. And you're all like that. Oh, it's a 50. I ain't losing to dickheads like that, man. It's not what I'm about. Win now. Not losing at St Kilda, Terry. No. Not doing it again, bro.
Well, you'll be here next Monday.
Yeah, on a win.
On a win. On a win. Ratings at 5 p.m. Blue Broad Show at 7. On a win.
On a win, Terry. Look, I ain't losing to fucking St Kilda. No. Not today. Not this week.
I love it.
And if they do, I'll fucking come for them.
Mate.
Motlop legacy game. If you're watching this, Jesse, you better have a fucking legacy game because I ain't losing to them fucking scrubs, bro. If I have to do a show tomorrow, next week with Terry, and I see that dickhead with his sunglasses on, oh, got my tie from Anthony Caminiti. I will fucking lose it. Mark my words, Carlton Football Club. I will come for every one of you on that list in the payroll, volunteers. Everyone cops it if we lose that game and I have to deal with that.
Yeah, you guys don't understand what it's like to do footy abroad on a Tuesday night. You guys wouldn't get it. And you got to show respect.
Mate, I will find a way, legit to Christ, to get their list, the list of all the people on the payroll, and I will single-handedly go through them next week. Everyone, A to Z, will start. Everyone gets it next week if we lose this week.
Oh, dear. Okay. Hey, thanks for joining tonight. We got exactly where we needed to be by the end of it, which I think was the main thing. Oh man,
I'm fair. I'm equally harsh as I equally praise. At the moment, it's shit, but you've had your shit.
Yep.
Be good now. That's okay. You were disgraceful against Adelaide. Fucking beat Saints. It's not that hard.
Turn it around. Turn it around. Pommy, we'll see you tomorrow, 7:30 footy abroad.
Yeah, no doubt. Our great mate in chat, Woody, there's no doubt texting him and saying, can you do me a favour? Can you put that tie on for Pom tomorrow?
With your sunglasses.
Oh, he better not, because he'll get a prelude, that guy.
I'll be wearing sunnies. Not sunnies. I'll be wearing like brown tinted glasses if we win.
He better be on his best behaviour. I swear to Christ as well, Swoop, if you're watching this, because Terry's going to wind me up next week and he'll do this before we go. Swoop, you're impartial. Can the Blues do it? And then I've got to sit and watch Swoop pretend Carlton are good and he loves us and respects us. Better not lose this week, because I tell you what, these two dickheads have done me all year.
Yeah. All right. Let's call it a night. Much love, everyone. See you soon.
Go on, Blues.
Come on. Sort it out, lads. Fuck me.
Win.